And we are live. Welcome, everyone. My name is William.
And I'm Andrew.
And we're here again in another episode of Thrones and Rings, or Rings and Thrones, or whatever we named this. This is going to kill us. All right.
Right.
And because of the algorithm, we don't have the actual term in the title. So it's cluck holds and cuckoos, like the bird.
Yep.
And I think that sums up. Well, we have to decide which one is which. I don't think there's any
that's true.
Cluck holds in Rings of Power at the moment. Though you can kind of make the argument because they don't explain some of the lineage going on. But
that's true. You don't know the mother of the Queen Regent. Yeah. So let's
something is happening there.
Yeah. They need to explain where Harad comes into play with that one. So, all right, let's go straight into the worst one.
Yep, we're going in chronological order once again.
Yes. So Rings of Power. Basically, we get some dwarven action again. We get more so from the elf perspective still.
I still love Durin and Elrond. Like, they should have made a show just on those characters.
Honestly, it could have been just them. That's true. Yep. And then you had the hobbits with Meteor Man.
It's meteorite because it actually hit the earth. Come on, man.
Right. I'm sorry.
Nice terms.
And then you have Galadriel with Numenor still. And Numenorians are treated like hobbits as far as their combat skills go. It's fantastic.
All right.
It pissed
that
me
scene,
off.
Like, I would almost accept the fact that she could best them that easily if she wasn't. If I didn't hate that character so much by this point. If it was like Legolas doing it, you would. I think you would accept it more. They still look ridiculous because they're supposed to be.
If it was warriors. Legolas, but he's an archer, and I'm expecting him to be trying to keep.
He has those little mini swords.
Okay, fine. Then that's style. But like, let's be honest. They're Numenorians, man.
Yeah,
they're not men.
It's
okay.
It's true that it was too easy, but I would be more accepting if she didn't suck already.
Okay.
But then the thing is, they've ruined the Numenorians in general because they make this big deal about sailing to not Westeros, to Middle Earth with her, and they have colonies and like you said last time, all along the coast. I don't understand why this is a big deal. They could have
they've made them isolationists in a way that they never were.
How can you be seafaring and isolationist? It doesn't make any sense.
You can't be. It's like what are you? Are you not trading with all the parts of the world?
Yeah.
The one guy is talking as if they have no colonies in Middle Earth. The guy, he's like, "Oh, am I going to pass up on all this riches and stuff?" It's like, you guys have been taking riches from Middle Earth for as long as your existence. You have had lands over there since you helped fight with the elves on the right side of the major conflict. You were a major contributor to the martial prowess of that fight. You're not like weak, terrible soldiers. The elves relied on you. Like, Galadriel isn't coming in here and just manhandling the people that you're sending as an expeditionary force to the southern lands. I'm just saying, like, you're not just sending these like militia members. I don't understand this concept where they're struggling to marshal an army.
Yeah,
this is Numenor.
Exactly.
Numenor. They're making it's like, do you expect Gondor to have like terrible rangers? I don't.
Exactly.
It'd be like if Faramir's whole group out there was just incompetent and getting manhandled constantly by orcs.
Clearly they are. I mean, they're lesser than the Numenorians, so they must be really terrible.
Right. They must have just died they must have lost half their forces constantly because that's just but like the Numenorians, man. At this point, you would expect Aragorn to have sucked the entire time. But no, he's like the most prowess ranger soldier because, the legacy of Numenor is strong in him.
Clearly. It's not a real thing.
Yeah, apparently. It's just, okay.
I'm so sad that they mushed up her storyline with Numenor because it completely ruined it.
It does. She completely overshadows Numenor. And not just that, can we explain too that the Numenorians are supposed to have lifespans that are hundreds of years?
Yeah.
Like, these people who are young, right, aren't like teenagers.
No.
How they're portrayed. They're young, but they're also
I mean,
old.
Isildur could be that young at this point. I don't remember the exact timeline, but to your point, they should. It's like the Old Testament where everyone lives to be like 400 years old. It's the same idea.
Yeah. So like, if you're to take them at face value, right? They're supposed to be of a significant age still.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to be experienced soldiers. How do you have someone who lives until they're like, what, 600 is the age span or more? I can't remember specifically. It's 600 is in their lifespan capability.
Yeah, some of them do. I don't think they all do that. I think it's just like the line of kings. They can make that.
I don't know, man. Yeah. All I know is they live significantly longer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Aragorn's like what, 70 or 80 in the Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, but like that's part of the envy, right? They can live so long, get so much experience, but they still age. And that's the envy they have towards the elves. Not isolationists of, like we've said previously, the protect Numenorian jobs. It's like so funny.
So dumb. Oh my god. I forgot about that scene. Oh man.
We're not gonna let those elven trades come in.
And then Halbrand's storyline is just like, I can see how it could be interesting, but he's clearly Sauron.
Yeah, because he's such a good smith. Like he was impressing them. So
well, the thing is, it doesn't matter because you're supposed to be like, oh, it's Numenor, so this should be a big deal. But Numenor sucks, so really, it isn't that big of a deal.
They haven't displayed the prowess of Numenor in anything.
Well, they have those giant
than,
statues and things, so it's like it's almost like they've already lost it. Like they forgot that they're in the golden age right now.
Right.
They're writing it like as if we're in Gondor already. It's like, no.
I know. This is peak Numenor.
Yes.
This is everything that Gondor aspires to be, but can't because it's all lost.
Yeah. So also, we get to see Eminem and a couple Eminem.
Okay, I forgot about that. Honestly, it was so bad looking. Who are they supposed to be?
I have no. That's okay. So that's a major complaint that I now have after a couple episodes is there's so much going on, so many storylines with no substance. So it's like they have this little bowl and they're just piling things into it, and they're all separate, and they're not spending enough time on.
They don't explain anything.
No.
They don't explain anything.
No, and I don't know. The thing is,
they purposely skip. They purposely skip opportunities to explain.
Yes.
Right. Like where did the conflict with Isildur's sister come from now? Why is she so anti?
Randomly, and they never even fully explain it. Like you can see that like they want you to assume that, but she doesn't really say that. And also, again,
and let's be honest, this is the elf loving family.
Yes, the elf loving family. Yeah. So they created this made up character specifically to act as a foil to Isildur now, clearly. Yeah. And why? Everyone else is a foil to Isildur. That's the whole point.
I know. It's just silly, right? He has no one on his side, and at one point she was supposed to be the person on his side. Are they trying to find a betrayal for him? Yeah. Maybe. Yes.
I mean that's the entirety of Numenor, but okay.
Yeah.
They also keep mentioning Isildur's brother. I forget his name now, but they have yet to show
the one who's disappeared.
Yeah, well, I mean, he helps found like Gondor and Arnor, so like he's coming. It's just I don't understand why they haven't shown him yet. Like, it's not
which is also annoying because he's out there founding shit basically, and they're acting like no one has gone over to.
They keep saying that Isildur wants to go west. Where's he going?
Right to the Elven lands, but they're not going to let him in there. Like,
no. They don't
get the directions wrong. That's my question.
Maybe they do let him in because they had that whole scene with Galadriel going in, which doesn't make any sense because they have all these lines later where it makes it seem like it's a big deal to get to go back.
Right.
And yet you can just sail back whenever you want to. Like, what? I don't know.
Well, they had to let her in, right? It wasn't just simply sailing.
Well, she got let in. I mean, and she doesn't want to even be there.
Right. I wouldn't let her in. After this series, I hope it's not considered canon.
Yeah, no, it definitely isn't.
But Durin and Elrond is such a good story arc.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only one that's worth any shit, and
I basically
the whole joke about the table
and then I get
was fantastic. Right.
Say it again.
The joke about the table.
Yeah.
It was so good how he's just tried to like deceive. And then I thought it was good how they did Mithril.
Yep.
The importance of Mithril. Durin actually cares.
Yep.
So it's a good story arc because it's his friend and they.
Yep. I like how he had him repeat. So whose
right.
hands are the elves?
See, they actually can write elf-dwarf interaction.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a different writer for that story arc. Because
they have to be different.
Much better.
They have.
Will they have Elrond actually act like an elf? Where like Galadriel doesn't act like an elf. I always forget the other guy's name. The one that is in the Southlands right now. He's okay. He had a cool fight sequence.
It does not matter to me because he does not seem like an elf.
No, well, that whole storyline doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't at all.
You see them looking out at the orcs, which now they can see, which the elves couldn't see before, which I don't understand. But they literally can just leave. Why are they staying there to get slaughtered? Yeah.
There's also the whole fact that those orcs are incompetent as all can be, and terribly written orcs as well. They're stormtroopers. They've been turned into stormtroopers.
Yep.
They can't hit anything.
Not scary.
He didn't get hit by a single arrow. Single one. And you know that there's like this scene, that this battle scene is going to be terrible. Mm-hmm. It's going to be terribly written.
Well, there can't be a battle. You have like 20 people who don't have any fighting experience and one elf.
Where are the people going to come from? Obviously, somehow the timeline can't possibly be the same, right? Galadriel and them are going to show up.
And it's already Mordor.
Yeah.
It has to be hit. Otherwise, I can't give this show any credit because this writing just sucks. So what I was going to say doesn't make any sense.
No, none of it makes sense. And I think the thing that has annoyed me the most about the show are the fanboys who are trying to give them these show writers credit for things that they clearly do not intend.
Nope.
There is no intention for this to be good. Mm-hmm. It's people are grasping at straws to try to write in possibilities. And it's like, I've seen this before. It's called Game of Thrones seasons 6 through 8.
Yep. And also the time in between episode 6 and episode 7.
Yes. It's just you try too hard, and people need to stop trying so hard with this. It's bad. Mm-hmm. I think we just need to accept that it's bad. There's one good story arc, only one. The Hobbit one sucks.
It sucks now.
They haven't done anything with it. No, and all they've done is make it like it has no identity as a story arc.
What they should have done is, if they wanted to tell these mini stories at once, they should have focused like 3 episodes on each group in a row.
This should have been a world building season, pure and simple, only world building, nothing else. Maybe a little bit of show some conflicts between different groups, maybe, like nothing that's grand. They're trying to do a grand conquest in this, right? Mm-hmm. And they should have skipped the grand conquest in favor of world building and conflict definition.
Yep.
Right? And season 2 should have come hot out the gates. That's what should have happened.
Yep.
But no. You can afford to make I don't want to say boring first season, but when you're Amazon and you purchase basically 5 seasons worth of this, you could afford a boring season that just world builds, explains
gets you invested
in the universe. Yeah, gets you invested and interested in the different areas to see how they're going to come together.
I was talking to someone about this at work, and I was like, they don't do any world building. They don't explain why these characters exist, why I should care about them, yada yada. Well, everything we've talked about. And they're like, well, they just assume that you've seen the Peter Jackson trilogy. It's just like, no. First of all, you can't assume that. And secondly, this not. It
has nothing to do. It has nothing in common.
Yeah. So even if you have seen it and you're like, oh, I love Galadriel from those, this is not the same Galadriel. So they have to explain what is happening.
Just like Numenor did not exist in those. You have to explain what is Numenor. Why is what is it that matter? Why is this so great? Mm-hmm. What matters about it? Oh, this is the group that builds everything that is Gondor, the shell of an empire that we get to see in the trilogy. Okay. None of that exists.
No.
It's just bad.
It's really bad.
they really should have done world building as their priority, and then come in hot for the follow-up seasons, because it's rough. It's really rough.
Yep. All right, man. What's your final verdict for this episode?
0.25. I'm going to keep getting lower. There's like what, 3 episodes left?
Yep. Oh, okay. So with the M&Ms, the fact that the Hobbit storyline sucks now, Numenor has been ruined for me. Just the lore inconsistency.
Only Durin and Elrond is good.
That's the only thing that's holding this thing up. So like,
it's the only reason to watch, man.
I would give it a 2 because I don't like giving like half percentages and stuff. So like, I'll give it a 2.
Fine. I'll bump it to a 1 just because you don't like. I can't give it a full 0 because there's one positive story arc. But that one story arc, I want to give a 0.25 simply because that one story arc still has so many undefined world building characteristics. And there's no excuse for the dwarves to not world build. They're the most compelling race of Middle Earth. They're the most fun. Everyone thinks they're the most fun. Everyone does. I don't believe anyone.
Well, they had some world building. Remember, they smashed some rocks.
Oh, that's true. But they didn't explain anything about the weirdness there that should be explained.
Yep.
Given the fact that it's so easily explained.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally a group called the Black Locks. Let's use that. I don't care. Like, just let's go with it. Let's roll. There's the different dwarves that lived in the southern lands too. Like, I actually think the Black Locks were from that area. So, and there's a couple others. We could easily let's just go with that. But no,
take effort.
It would just take less than one episode. Just one episode to.
You're not gonna get. They even asked where the elf was from. Oh my gosh, I don't understand.
Which one?
That was a perfect opportunity. They asked I can't remember his freaking name. Arondir?
Again?
No, not this episode. In the last episode. My point is that they had a perfect opportunity. They even wrote it in the script.
Right.
Where they could ask where he's from.
Yeah.
And they could have a whole dialogue because they had like a weird dialogue on it.
Oh, it was so odd. It was such an odd dialogue.
Also, I'm so confused by that character. Do you have any idea who that is?
Which one? The evil guy?
Or whatever. Yeah.
No.
The evil elf?
I have no clue. He's just an elf guy who seems to want to be.
Do you know who that actually is? It's Benjen Stark.
That makes so much sense.
This is what happens to him. He doesn't actually turn into cold hands. He becomes this freaking dude.
That looks like him too. Is that the actual same actor? Okay, that's what happens. That makes so much sense.
Yeah, we figured it out, man.
Oh my gosh,
that's why he's so sad.
It's such a
because
wacky,
he's in a terrible story now.
I know. He was actually a good actor.
Yep.
Now they made him suck.
Well, they ruined his story arc in two shows.
Right.
It sucks in the show too. Anyway,
I know. That's.
I give it a 2. You give it a 1. Average 1.5. It was pretty terrible.
I want to give it a 0. But I can't.
I'm not gonna be able to give it a 0 unless
just because the dwarves still don't suck. That's the only reason.
They don't suck, and also there are still some beautiful vistas. So it's like you got to give some credit to those people who were not involved in the script. I'll give them that. That's why I give it a 2.
Fine.
Okay. Moving on to the good show.
Just moving on to the good show. Finally had the time jump.
Yeah, that was a slightly.
So you had to do world building with the time jump, which is to be expected. But it was such a ground, like I don't know. It was a lot of action of intrigue in this one that I was not expecting. Yes. It really does set the stage for what's to come in a good way.
Yep.
So, how many episodes do we have left on it? It's
3 more episodes.
Is it only 3? Okay.
No, hold on. I guess this is episode 6, so there should be. It's 5 and 5, right? 4 more, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot that can happen by the end of this season, and it was good all around. I can't think of a weak part. The actors they picked for the time jump actually are pretty good at filling those roles.
Yeah, it was it seems like a logical progression in age where the young girl Rhaenyra, I always get the names confused. Rhaenyra. Her older actress still has some of that same qualities that she has as a younger girl, but she's much more hardened and sour. And I think that actress pulled it off really well. Same thing with Alicent Hightower.
Right.
Yeah. And I think it's really funny how Sir Kristen is exactly the same age.
Oh, yeah. Same
Damon,
exact. Doesn't change at all. They just cut his hair shorter.
Yeah, and Damon looks the same too. It's just like, wow, these guys are. I don't know what elixirs they're drinking, but
yeah, they're fine. I don't really care, just because it's fun. But their acting was fun.
It's a phenomenal episode. Again, they give you, because of the time jump, a lot has happened. There's a lot of new characters. They do a good job of slowly introducing them, and also like just showing them and then explaining who they are throughout the episode.
Right, like
connections.
The discovery of who the father is. Something as simple as that, right? Like, they leave you guessing at first. They don't explicitly say who he is in the beginning. They build to it, like they explain why he was really there in the beginning, and then they have it where it's more explicit that he is the father.
Yeah.
But it's like in the beginning he could just be a friend. It could still be Sir Kristen.
I mean, the Queen
mentions
to the Leonor.
Oh no, you know from the beginning that it's not his.
Yeah.
The second you see the hair is not Targaryen hair, you know. But like, no, I'm saying like exactly who the father she's going with. You know, you could still assume maybe it's Sir Kristen until it's a little bit more explicitly pronounced, right? And then
she really screwed herself, by the way, by doing that, because none of those kids now have a claim because they're bastards. That was so dumb. It was so dumb. She's supposed to be really she kind of comes off as pretty intelligent as a younger girl. And then she really gets screwed up in that one episode with Damon and makes this bad decision after bad decision past that point.
She makes a lot of bad decisions, right?
Yes.
They didn't have to necessarily obviously be bastards, per se.
I mean, the thing is, the Targaryens have such, the Valerians in general have such unique characteristics. It's the white hair and the purple eyes. They never do the purple eyes in the show, which I don't understand. But
probably because it's hard to do the lighting with the purple contacts without it showing as contacts.
They have Yennefer has purple eyes, doesn't she, in the show, in the Witcher show?
True, but it's different. I don't know. That's weird. But yeah, it's obvious. Everyone knows it. But like, you still have to make that claim. You still have to pursue that claim, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're still Targaryens. That's the only one that matters, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, so we're starting to see the factions form, and they're much more apparent now.
Right.
And you understand the motivations between all of them. So like Alicent Hightower, like my wife was saying I think it was the last episode, maybe it was episode 3. Why is she so upset about like her friends sleeping around? It's like not really her business, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, yeah, but she just had a conversation with her father that Rhaenyra is going to try to kill off her kids and claim the throne.
Right.
To make sure that there's no contesting of the throne. And she's like, well, it's my best friend. I can trust her with whatever. But then she lies to her. So that puts her on that path of like, well, I can actually see her doing this. And then her continued infidelity and the fact that now she wants to marry her bastard child.
It shows her as not loyal. Yes. That's what it shows. And then it's weird too, right? Because she's never really given any indication that she would kill the children.
No.
That's a bit of a jump. That's more of like a self-justification to do the conflict in the first place, right?
You can understand having that on your head though, because like you in her head, she has the true-born Targaryen heirs. They all have the white hair. Okay, they're all dragon riders, or at least a couple more.
Rhaenyra is a legitimate heir.
Yeah, but it gets confusing, right? You can see why there's.
She is a legitimate heir. Like
So is Damon.
There's plenty of heirs. Just because you have younger children, one who happens to be a boy, doesn't necessarily mean that the Targaryens have to go with that. And the children might be bastards, but plenty of times a king could have his bastard be legitimized. It doesn't really.
Yeah, well, that starts another rebellion later
Yeah.
Another Targaryen does that. But another thing is that her children's last names, Rhaenyra's children's last names is Valerion.
Yeah.
And that isn't actually, they're not the child of the Valerians. So it should be, what is their last name? Strong? Is that the last name?
Well, they should be Strongs, but because they're bastards, they're technically, what is it there in King's Landing?
Is it not Flowers? It's
River. It's not Rivers. It's not Flowers. It's not Storm. It's not Snow. It's not. I forget what the Veil is. Sky or something.
Yeah. Oh no, we should know
I
this.
can't remember. I can't
What is
remember.
Robert Baratheon's bastard's name?
I have to Google it. I can't remember King's Landing bastards.
Anyway, you can see the frustration and the factions forming, and
Waters.
also her kids look like Targaryens, and Rhaenyra's does not.
It's Waters.
Waters. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, I get it. She just came in a little hot with that whole. I don't know. She's just coming in a bit hot, and then obviously the Strong family over there with Harrenhal.
Mm-hmm.
Just take out your brother and father.
Well, the Strongs, that's the Hound and his brother, right? That's the same house, I think.
I didn't think that was. I have to. What is? Let me Google it real quick.
Oh no, Sandor.
No, Clegane, man.
Clegane. I really thought that.
No, the Strong family is didn't they go extinct? I thought no one existed in that. I thought that family went extinct, man.
I'm telling you they're related in some way. I will look this up later. Anyway, somehow that.
Okay, fine.
They're mentioned again with them somehow. Oh no, they name him that. They name the. What is the Hound's brother?
Oh, his real name? The Mountain. I don't remember his actual name. No one ever calls him it. Unless you're thinking of the shorter word that starts with a C, according to the Hound.
I'm sorry, keep talking. I'm going to Google this.
But, no, it's like... Well, can we just talk about how, like, the introductory scenes to the true Targaryen heir? He's just kind of a douchebag to his younger brother, but they refuse to like blame each other. Then you have it where his mom just walks in on him, just wanking it into the the sky.
You know, isn't that?
And then he's just like, when she's just like yelling at him for being such a douche to his brother, he's just like, well, he's a twat. And then it's just like, dude, you were the one just jerking it out the window. Like, I think you're kind of a twat.
Think that what is that douchey king? What's the son? Joffrey. So I think Joffrey either mentions that or does that in the books or in the show.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, and so I think that was a callback to like kind of give you
an indication of what he's out the window.
So I think it's the same idea.
Window once. Yeah,
it's the same idea. All right, so Robert Strong is what they name the mountain after he gets resurrected. I'm not wrong. So that's connected to that family. All right.
I think they were just bannermen for that family, but
yeah. Okay. So they had the weird winking scene. I did not look up to see who got dragons because there's a couple of them who don't have dragons yet, and I don't remember.
Two don't have dragons.
Yes. So the one kid,
one of Daemon's, and then the younger kid of the king. Well, younger son.
Yep. Younger son of the king doesn't have a dragon yet. But he went down to the basement. I don't know who that is. It's a bigger dragon. And I think
I do not remember which dragon that is. It's just warned not to. I'm actually really curious to see who steals the one dragon.
Which one?
The big one that the Valerian daughter had, who just torched her. The one in the preview that was said someone stole, and then it became a whole big conflict. I'm curious to see how the next episode goes, because it is definitely being drawn up with battle lines, quite clear battle lines. Obviously, Daemon and Rhaenyra are going to be on the same side again.
Yep.
Her bastard children.
I wonder if they can actually ride dragons, because they made a point to show that the one is probably not going to be a dragon rider.
Which one?
The
one that's like bad at commanding it.
Yep.
I mean, he has a dragon. It's his dragon.
Yeah, I mean, that just means a hatch. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily bonded.
Right. I think it's just it varies, right? But like, it's about confidence. He doesn't have the confidence more so. Yeah. So if he gets that, then he'll probably be able to ride one.
Okay.
I don't know. Is there expected to be another time jump at all, or no? Because like,
I don't think so. Not in the season.
Those kids are pretty young.
I guess I don't know. I knew that there was going to be a mid-season time jump, and I honestly didn't realize there was going to be time jumps before that. So
right, because there was a time jump, a short time jump, not
in 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, it's a question mark. Maybe there's another slight time jump so that the kids are more capable. It could go either way. No, I actually really liked Daemon's story to a certain extent, because he's like, I could just be here making a ton of money, just holding a dragon. It'll be interesting. I feel like this was a really good transition to the new timeline.
Yeah.
That jump, it really integrated it pretty well into the story. Introduced the new actors. What did you think of Sir Kristen's baiting of Mr. Strong?
I see that he's got a major chip on his shoulder.
Oh yeah.
I think that he resents what Rhaenyra wanted to make of him, but also resents the fact that he's not that person.
Yeah, definitely.
I think
definitely
he would like
a bit
to be
of both, right?
Yeah. Because I think he, in the short amount of time I guess it was years that he knew Rhaenyra. I think he did love her, and then
he wanted to run away with her.
Yes, but obviously she just couldn't give him that, so he ran off like.
She never would give up her crown.
Yeah.
So because she chose crown over him, he wants to make her not get the crown. Right? Like, that's really where he's at now.
What they need is Ned Stark going through the lineage and be like, Targaryen, white hair. Targaryen, white hair. Valerian, black hair. What is happening?
Okay, but to be fair, yeah, it's weird, right? Like, I guess her the Hightower guy is supposed to come back as the Hand of the King, right? So you're gonna have that dynamic. It's a little weird. You think he would have done the marriage? The king wanted it, right? It's like, why does she have such a power over him as to be able to deny that? I feel like that's something that could get expanded on a little bit.
I mean, they show that he trusts her and really appreciates her counsel as a younger person. And, I mean, he's just old and feeble at this point. I mean, I'm surprised he's still there.
True, but
maybe
he's
just like,
it's still his decision, right? It's not really hers.
Yeah. Or he knows that those are bastard children.
He secretly just doesn't want that.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it would be less. It would be less of a convoluted bloodline. It's less inbred slightly. Yeah, it's Harrenhal is definitely cursed. What did you think of him doing the mutes?
Say it one more time.
the mutes with the taking their tongues from them to make them his.
What is your thoughts on that?
I actually thought it was a really good, almost similar to Sir Ian Payne.
Yeah.
Where now you have like a little brigade of them. They're like the perfect little Stasi he could have ever gotten. They're probably going to be like a real dark force within King's Landing. And I think that it's probably important to just look out for how they'll influence the story arc.
Yeah. I mean, to contrast it back to Rings of Power, this is just such a superior show. Every character that's on the screen is more interesting.
Well, it's intricate, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're also not telling too many stories at once.
Yep.
And they try to tie characters together as often as possible.
Yeah.
And that's just superior writing.
Yep.
I mean, even Daemon's story arc, that's the furthest they went away from King's Landing is Daemon. That's it.
Yep.
Right? And even then, it still harkens to like making comment and observation about the goings on of King's Landing. So it's just an outside view of things you're seeing on another story arc. And yeah, it's better. It doesn't lack for identity. I think it's pretty coherent.
Yep.
Rings of Power. I hate being reminded of its existence while we're talking about the superior show. Well, what would you rate it? We've gone this far into reviewing. How would you rate?
Honestly, I really like this one. I'd give it an 8.
You give it an 8?
Yeah, because again, it's building anticipation. The transition was really nice, like really smooth, at least for me, into the older actors. I was a little bit hesitant about that because I got grown attached to the other ones.
Right, it was a little weird at first. I'll agree. Like, I don't know if Sir Laenor is as good. I just not as good. I mean, like, I didn't. That's not what I would have expected him to look like per se.
Yeah, well, his dad was so badass.
Right, and he grows into kind of a wuss.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, he talks big game, but then
talks big game, but is kind of a bitch.
Yeah, well, he's like Viserys in Game of Thrones, where
he is. That is exactly who he is. He does not give like you'd expect with his father, a little bit more badassery. Actually, you'd expect with him being a dragon rider who was in combat with Daemon and that. Like, you'd expect him to be slightly more badass. And they just completely abandon him as, like, a warrior.
Yep.
And he doesn't act the warrior.
You also think that he would be a little bit more political and realize that he needs to sire at least one kid, even though they have this agreement.
At least the first one?
Yes. Because it's obvious that he didn't. And
right.
I mean, that just threatens him too.
Interspersed, like one random non-blonde, one random blonde, one random non. So it's like, oh, luck of the draw. I see.
Yeah.
He shot a brown hair one this time. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And the thing is, like, it threatens him too. So even if he's like, I'm not really interested in this whole situation, if it's found out that like all those are bastards, like he's gonna die too.
Yeah, because he has no use.
Yeah.
He's completely worthless.
Yep.
Currently is completely worthless, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's the one character where it's just like I'm a little sad. I realize he's just a pawn for the other main characters, but it's still kind of sad.
No, it is. It is. I think that was like the one thing I would say was weak. Like, it just felt weak. His character as a whole felt weak. The acting, not the acting, but like the actor choice, the style of acting that they directed for him was just pure weakness, which they chose, obviously. I'm not going to say that there's any issue with the acting, because I'm pretty sure he's conveying exactly what they were told. I don't necessarily think that that's the best. Like, you think, unless it just broke him that his his Night of Kisses, got brutally bashed, you'd expect him to like harbor ill will towards Sir Kristen or something, like actually hate him and look to just like,
we don't get to see him interact with him in this episode, right?
You do. You get to see him. They see each other down the hallway in the very beginning.
Right, yeah.
And it does not seem hostile or anything. It's just him looking at the blood on the floor, not really anything else. I would have expected him to like go congratulate Sir Strong over there for punching the shit out of Sir Kristen.
Yes.
Like been an advocate for him. That's what I would have expected, but nah. Perfectly fine with him being banished.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the episode goes, I'm between a 7 and an 8. Only because it takes time to get used to the new actors.
That's fair.
And it is a time jump. I feel like the time jump is less weird if you watch the whole thing. Like, you're more binging of it.
Mm-hmm.
It might feel a little less weird. Because it's like, it's more expected. And then, but yeah, the acting was good. I really liked how Sir Kristen Cole was sneaky devil.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge fan of the mastermind Strong brother.
Yeah.
Who was kind of, I don't know, he's not very. I think he's kind of, he's a cross between Littlefinger and Varys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not.
He's Littlefoot.
Yeah, he's not a fun character per se. He's kind of.
I mean, if he's across Varys and Littlefinger, he's actually like Little Nut.
No nut.
No, he has a little nut because, I mean, is he crossed between the two?
Oh, okay. Just naming scheme, man. Yeah, so it's I would say that's where I'm at with him. I don't he's not a fun character, but he might become fun given his Stasi that he just created.
Yeah.
So just I don't know. It's just weird when you randomly murder your brother and father because of a stupid Hightower queen. Like what are you really achieving? Please tell me what is your political ambition that makes it where you're better off supporting the group that's not your blood relatives. Like does he not realize that his relatives are in line to inherit the Iron Throne if he supports Rhaenyra? Like,
he has different ambitions.
Does he not have any? Okay, no. Tell me, what could he possibly have for ambitions that are not better served by putting his own relatives on the Iron Throne?
I guess we'll find out, man. I don't know.
No, it doesn't exist. That's why he's the most confusing character ever, because it's like his ambitions are dumb. Like, his father's hand of the king. Okay. That great influence right there already. But if you have it where your nephews, basically, unofficial nephews, realize that you're their uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want to make it too obvious that their father is their father, so they're not going to make him hand to the king. Right? He's going to just stay as commander of the city watch, which is pretty prestigious role.
The thing is, actually, if you think about it, they would never be able to know, because if I can't remember the first one's name, the oldest son, if he ends up knowing, he would have to kill them, because them knowing about his lineage would endanger his right to the throne. So he would actually become a major threat to him.
Or he simply has to keep them happy and well located because of the blackmail.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the uncle is clearly would be much better off if if his nephews were on the throne. Right? Like,
I don't know. I mean, political leaders and kings and queens kill each other all the time. They kill their kids, their cousins all the time.
It's a little more rare in this universe of sorts, but okay. Not so common.
I gave it an 8. You gave it a 7-ish?
I'm like 7.5.
Okay.
Just because it's weird getting used to the new characters a little bit. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe it's weird if you don't have like a transition to it. There's not a good way to do the transition without like an epilogue or
Or just 10 years later.
Yeah. Like
they mention it in the episode, but
yeah. I mean, it becomes quite obvious real quick. But no, it's like it like they said, it's like a new pilot, so you can't give it an 8. I don't think you can give it an 8 or a 9 just because it is a new pilot, so you have to kind of like bring it back. And a pilot is like 5 or 7 usually.
I think you're consistently 1 grade below me, by the way.
I think I am. Yeah. Well, no, I was a solid 9 on the last episode. So, I mean, I'm also trying to like lower this one because the next ones are going to be much better.
Yep.
With it being basically a second pilot episode towards what's happening next in the second leg of the story, it's definitely, there's a lot of upward potential, and I'm just grading it with that in mind. I'm eventually going to have a 10. It's going to happen. So I mean, like, I'm not in doubt.
Yes.
Yeah. Not in doubt about having a 10 score episode in like the next 4 episodes. So that will never happen for Rings of Power. So let's just.
Oh man, unless they they kill everything off, and it's like a Hobbit's like weed dream or something.
Yes,
that would be amazing.
No, the only way the Hobbit can redeem itself is if the Meteorite Man is actually Tom Bombadil.
Oh man, that'd be great.
That's the only way, and that's why Tom Bombadil is so damn chill nowadays. Is because he had anger issues with his flames earlier in his life, and now,
also ice for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, he just is all elemental over here, and it's weird. Which now she's terrified of him. Doesn't make any sense. She's the one who touched him. So.
Yep. He didn't attack her. And
he didn't try to do shit to her. She's fine. Let's just pretend like she's traumatized now because that's the way of the Hobbit. I don't really know. Just like that whole story arc, I'm really curious on the purpose. So, okay, I'll boost it up to I'm willing to boost it up to an 8 simply because it does not have any meandering bullshit story arcs in House of the Dragon. So it's a pilot that's tight. It's a tight pilot. So I'll boost the 9 to an 8.
This is actually kind of a funny parallel, but they have dragons that are dragons besides the one that's a pig.
Okay, the one that's super weird that the 2 dragons are different style of dragons.
I appreciate they're trying to make them look different, though.
They have to differentiate the ones for each house.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
But in the Rings of Power, the wolves are pigs. They're no real wolves.
They're that stupid animal you find at the all of the prehistoric. And
I believe they're called Entelodons.
Is that what they're called? I forget. But it's not creative. It's not really creative. It's just weird. It's like, why do they exist in this universe?
Yep.
Why aren't they real wolves? They've never ever hinted that there's like extinct animals in this universe.
No. Also one that like predates humans. I mean, come on. At least do a dire wolf. Let's go.
Right. Just make it look badass. I don't care.
Why does it have to be a weird pig, and why does it have to be a weird hedgehog? Okay, come on.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that the warg creatures that they keep bringing out are just off base. They must not have purchased the rights to the
Well, I was actually watching the show. This guy was just going over bad CGI, and he uses that as an example.
That was bad CGI.
Yeah, they screwed up the eyes, and if the guy actually like covers them up and makes them like where you don't see them at all, and the face actually looks pretty scary then. But then as soon as you put the eyes out, they're too big. They look like baby eyes.
Oh, they actually look scary because I don't think they ever look.
Yeah, if you cover up the eyes, they actually look like, oh, this is actually something I could be scared of in the right setting.
I mean, the hooves kind of ruin it for me.
Yeah.
It seems like they're supposed to be ridden by dwarves or something.
Are you talking about the Entelodons? The Entelodons? No, those are ruined. I meant the evil hedgehog. Yeah.
Oh.
Even though it makes it also, if you don't hear the weird yeeping sound that it makes. It's like
that thing doesn't look scary, man. It just looks stupid.
Cover up the eyes. I'm telling you, like there's a video. Look it up. All right,
What
I think
is
we're
it even
rambling
called?
now. So it's the evil hedgehog from.
I literally am searching Rings of Power hedgehog. Oh my gosh. Never mind, it's actually the hedgehog. Sonic. Oh, was it called a warg in this?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I just want to point out the difference between it and like Two Towers wargs. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I agree.
It's so embarrassing. Like, yeah, okay. The universe needs this, so let's share the screen because
do it.
Okay, can you see it?
No, you gotta actually add it to the stream. I can add it to the stream.
Oh, 1 second.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah.
Let's just look at these. Look how badass the one on the right is, folks.
It's because it's got tiny eyes.
Well, it has tiny eyes, but look at the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that jaw.
Look at the head. Also, it's huge.
It's massive. It's made to be imposing. It's like a cave troll in dog form.
Also, they can ride. They ride these things. How the heck are you gonna ride the little one?
I know, right? It's like, but like, think about this one. It is impressive. It's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
The one on the right is impressive. Actually, it looks like they use the same skin, like general face structure of the cave troll that they fight. Does it not?
Yeah, you're right.
And it's just like
yeah, click on the one that's like directly below. Yeah, right there. So even the Hobbit's version is better.
Is that the Hobbit on the right?
Yes.
Okay. Or was it on the left?
No, the one on the left is the Two Towers. The one on the right is the Hobbit.
So it's still Two Towers. Okay. Oh, okay. Like, yeah, I mean, that's still good. The eyes are good. It looks like a real wolf.
Yeah.
Which I feel like they made them purposely look like wolves more in that one.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, yeah. Oh my gosh, why did they have to give me the shittiest little... Why are they all zoomed in so much? Holy crap. There we go. Back to that one. Like, that's imposing. Yeah. I don't know why they didn't do something like this again.
And they're bigger than the same size or bigger than the horses. Yeah,
which they should be. They're impressive things. They're supposed to be basically a cavalry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it does not make any sense. Here it is on the horse in this one. Look,
yeah.
It's not necessarily the same. It's more like a bear. That's the thing that in the Two Towers, they're kind of like bears. Yeah, that's just stop sharing. That's just disappointing.
Yep.
More than anything, because it's like, did no one take the time to take here's what we made. This is what existed previously. No one took the time to compare those two things.
Or to realize what a warg is. They get ridden. You can't ride that little thing.
I mean, you could, but it'd be like a donkey or whatever.
It'd be like the hobbits could ride it, but not the orcs.
Right. I mean, they have made those orcs pretty small.
They're like man-sized.
Not that small, but like, I mean, hey, maybe someone wants to look like an oversized orc on the carousel.
I'm just waiting for the scene where they have them riding on those freaking things. It's like,
oh my gosh. You think they're actually gonna have that scene?
Yeah, there has to be. Why else would they have it?
Okay, here's my question. Who had quality control on that creature? Right?
Yeah, they should be fired.
That person should be fired. The one person who's like, yes, that's exactly what we want it to look like. Be like, bruh.
No.
Find a new job. I mean, okay, this is Amazon's fault. They should have paid more than $15 an hour.
Yep.
That's
really what they paid.
They clearly paid $15 an hour for someone to do that CGI because it's bad. It's just bad.
Okay. On that note, we've now gone back to Rings of Power again, like we do every episode.
I know, because we'll apologize now. It's the fact that House of the Dragon makes it where we feel the need to reiterate how shit Rings of Power is, because it's just so much better.
Yes.
And this happens every time because we forget how bad Rings of Power could possibly be until we see something better.
Yep. And until the next episode. And then they have Eminem. What is that?
And I will just be going berserk the entire time.
Oh, it's such weird androgynous. I don't know what's going on there. I'm so confused.
We'll save the real review on that one until next time, because we will need alcohol and more time to discuss that one.
All right.
So until next time.
Yeah.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Will.
And we'll see you next week on the CHRILLCAST.
Yeah. See you guys.
See you guys.